Welcome to the Warsquared Fantasy Football Podcast, a full-service year-round podcast with weekly episodes to provide fans with info on their teams and players. Whether you're a newbie or a longtime veteran of the fantasy wars, Warsquared is the podcast for you. And welcome into the preview for Week 5. Week 4 is in the books. We're here with Doc and Tobin, and we'll start with the news. Jonathan Taylor, OWT out.
For tomorrow night versus the Bucks. Remember, who had him as
or the Broncos.
the Broncos.
They both start with B's.
Who had him as a bust for the year? Oh, yeah, that'd be me.
Or for last week?
I had him a bust for last week. I also picked him as a person who's not going to live up to the hype for this year. Not necessarily a bust, but a person who's going to underachieve for this year.
I know, he's not one of your guys, so he's perpetually bad. So
no, he can be good. It's just he hasn't been good yet very often.
Just once, just week 1.
1 out of 5 ain't bad, is it? That's 20%. Hell, in baseball, he'd get paid $1 million a year.
Yeah, for you, that's a RB1.
For you, it definitely is. I've seen your RB1s.
Now, girls, you're both pretty. Let's
Especially
move
with
along.
that knee that got busted up in Denver this weekend.
Oh, that's true. That wasn't in Denver. It was in L.A. or in Las Vegas.
He plays in Denver, right?
He does.
Okay, that's what I was going for.
Okay. Speaking of Denver, Javonte Williams and Randy Gregory both went to Las Vegas. Both got knee injuries. Javonte Williams will be out for the year, ACL and LCL injury. Gregory just had some surgery. The ACL is intact, so he will return.
So what happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas.
Oh no, they left the ligaments in Vegas.
That's right. They tore the ligaments there, but they brought them home. They were just half of what they used to be.
So the Broncos then go out and sign Latavius Murray off the Saints practice squad. Now, Mel Gordon was questionable until today when he was removed from the injury report 100%. So Melvin Gordon is going to be your starter there. Mike Boone is still the backup. Latavius Murray, I mean, he came in and got a touchdown for the Saints in London, so he could come in and get a touchdown Thursday night.
Could. Going to be a fun game, isn't it? Who's got the most busted up running back playing in the game?
Oh, yeah, all backups. Cordero Patterson, he promptly scored a touchdown and went right out. He's on IR. He had knee surgery. He's going to be out 4 weeks. We'll get to who we're going to, at minimum, we'll get to who we're going to pick up later. In the swamp/quagmire that was Philadelphia, Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo, Darius Slay, all injured. Shoulders, forearms, knees. I mean,
that was a brutal second half to watch. Watching them slosh around the field. They're in Washington.
They were, well, in Baltimore too. It was just raining. It was rough.
It was Tropical Storm Ian.
So you're saying Ian won?
He did.
Definitely won.
He definitely did. Daniel Jones picked up a sprained ankle. Now, he did practice today on Wednesday as we record this, so I think he's going to be fine to play, or at least as fine as Daniel Jones can be.
Hey, he's 3-1, baby. Leave him alone.
Tyrod Taylor came in when he injured his ankle and promptly got concussed.
Was it the doctor's fault?
I don't think the doctor gave him the needle on that one.
Okay.
So I think they'll just have Davis Webb as the backup. So we'll get to how much I like the Packers later. Head injuries, Brian Hoyer didn't last through the Packers game. So Bailey Zappi came in.
Frank Zappa's kid?
Yeah, I like that, but different.
Moon Units.
And
Moon Units kid.
Another hit for the Colts as Shaquille Leonard, their middle linebacker, picked up a broken nose and a concussion against the Titans.
Ouch.
Speaking of the Titans, Treylon Burks left early with a foot injury, left the locker room in a walking boot. He's got turf toe, but it won't require surgery.
But he's out this week and is listed as day-to-day or week-to-week, depending upon how the injury report goes and everything.
Well, there's a big difference. So when they say day-to-day, they literally mean he could play. When they say week-to-week, it's almost guaranteed he ain't playing this week.
And it's turf toe, which is, believe it or not, a fairly painful injury to have, but can be, with pain management techniques, can be taken care of fairly readily for them.
Remember, turf toe is what ended Deion Sanders' career.
You mean the GOAT?
Yes, the GOAT.
Okay.
The Jets lost another left tackle when Max Mitchell went down with a knee injury He is expected to make it back this year. So they are now down to their 4th and 5th tackle options.
Now serving left tackle number 4. Left tackle number 4. Please
That's an
report to the lineup.
expensive position to be that deep into your depth chart.
No kidding.
A very expensive position to be in that deep into.
In London, the Vikings' first-round draft choice, Lewis Seen, severely fractured his ankle, a compound fracture. He was required to stay in London to have surgery there.
Required?
Required. They would not let him leave.
Wouldn't let him get on the plane and fly. Against medical advice, therefore he could not leave.
They get some fish and chips with that in the hospital then, or?
I'm sure he got some fish and chips.
A bunch
with it
of
at some point
boiled
in time.
stuff, I guess. The Bills lost Jameson Crowder to a broken ankle. Should be more targets for Diggs and Davis.
Hold on.
And maybe
How many more targets can Diggs get in a game?
Oh, he gonna get them all now.
I mean, didn't he get like 80% of them in the first place?
Pretty close.
Because Gabe Davis hasn't been much of anything except for maybe one game this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard when you pick up you severely sprain your ankle 2 days before your next game, and then you have to go play Miami. Then you have to play Baltimore. Yeah, I imagine it's pretty rough.
So his vagina hurts is what you're saying.
I would not put it that way, but we will jump right into last Thursday night's game. Bengals 27, Dolphins 15. Controversy.
What controversy?
Tua played and got concussed.
On a clean
Again.
play.
A totally clean play.
He got concussed. The controversy is just carry over from the game before where he was wobbly because he had a back injury.
Nope.
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
back
yeah.
injury.
It had to have been a back injury. Yeah.
Wait.
Just like Cameron Braid had a shoulder injury Sunday night.
You can have you can have an injury of the cervical spine that causes you to have concussion-like symptoms.
Does that cause you to shake your head?
Yes, it can. But the fact being that he was cleared to go back in the game by the neurologist because he had a back injury
Who's now looking for a new job?
shows you how intelligent that neurologist was, because I would never have cleared to go back in the game with a back injury at that point in time, let alone a possibility of a concussion. So it wasn't the injury this time that caused the controversy. It was the injury carryover from week number 3 that caused the controversy in this one, because this was a clean hit. This is one of those, oh crap, it's football, it happens things.
Exactly. That's exactly where the controversy comes from. He should not have played Thursday night's game.
If he was cleared to play, are you going to tell him he can't play?
Yes, I'm going to be
Okay.
the adult in the room and
Coach,
say, no, that is definitely head trauma. I saw it.
You as
when
a
they
coach
played
is
the
going to do
Bills.
that.
Me as a coach? Yeah, I'm going to do it, because I'm going to look at that and go, I need to protect this guy on a short week. If it was on Sunday, I'd have no problem with it.
Okay.
But on a short week, traveling to Cincinnati, yeah, that's a bad idea.
Okay,
If
but
they were 0-3 going into this, I think they sit him. But because they're relevant, I think they wanted to keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
well, it had also
Sure.
been cleared. I mean, my biggest complaint when I deal with sports teams is I don't have most sports teams will not give me the ability to keep a player out of the lineup, because
Well,
the
they don't
player-
give the doctor that either, but I mean,
they do it. They should in the NFL.
and I think that's why the NFL and the NFLPA have come together and said, look, when there's a gross motor control issue like this again in the future, they're not going back in the game.
But you know what level needs this more than anything else?
High school, college.
Pee wee, junior high, and high school need that more than anything else. Of having a
And
physician,
it'll trickle down to
a
there.
doctor be able to say no, you can't play.
It'll trickle down to there for sure.
Because that's where most of the injuries, concussion injuries, and long-term CE, the chronic, the brain concussions they have. That's where most of them, in my opinion, start at is that age as they get older, and that's where the damage is done.
Yep.
But going on in the game, good game, competitive game.
Tyreek got loose, 10 for 160. Waddle 2 for 39. Waddle looked injured late to me, so I haven't seen the practice reports for them.
He's
So make
listed
sure
as questionable.
you're paying attention to that. That we are getting Teddy Two Gloves this week. Mostert is the running back in Miami until he gets injured.
Isn't that what I told you 2 weeks ago?
I'm just going back on it right now. Everybody, make sure, don't be fooled by Chase Edmonds getting the touchdowns. It is fool's gold. It is not a promise of who's getting the work. For the Bengals, I was wrong about T. Higgins.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
he's good.
Yes, he is. Not a bad number 2 wide receiver, is he?
Woo! As long as they try to contain Chase. And Chase was 4 for 81. Now, he was like 1 for 20 for 3/4 of this game, but then got off in the fourth quarter.
He was a fifth of a step away from breaking a big one.
Oh, yeah. But T. Higgins was 7 for 124 and a touchdown. For you that have Bro Mixon this year, I'm sorry, he is not going to rip off 4.1 yards a carry again.
We'll see what happens later this year once they get their offense completely in gear. It looks like they're just getting warmed up now.
Yeah, I'm not liking it. Chiefs 41, Bucks 31 on Sunday night. Bucks fumble opening kickoff, and quickly Pat throws it to TK for a TD, and then there they went. Pat 249 and 3 touchdowns, 7 for 34 on the ground. TK 9 for 92 and a touchdown. CEH, who 2 of us picked to be a bust,
shows what we know,
blew up 19 for 92 and a touchdown, and a receiving touchdown that blew everybody's mind.
What a great play by Pat.
That one's going to be shown on film for the next 20 years. That's the jump shot pass.
When Pat Mahomes goes in the Hall of Fame, that's going to be in the clip that puts.
Yeah, they need to get Marv Albert to call that one, and pulls up for a mid-range jumper and CEH in the corner. It's good.
Nothing but CEH.
Yes. Well, and then Brady 385 and 3, 2 to Mike Evans, who was 8 for 103 and 2, getting basically 2 games worth of production in one. Playoff Lenny had a touchdown, 7 for 57 and a touchdown through the air, but had -3 yards on the ground.
Yeah, they ran the ball 6 times total. It was I think the second lowest total rushing attempts ever in an NFL game.
Well, I'm
since last year
when it was 5.
When it was the Bucks against the Saints.
Yep.
When I was driving home from running some errands and this game started, I'm going, well, the kickoff's turnover. This game's over with at that point in time, because you could literally feel the whole stadium and go, huh?
Well, and now the Chiefs get the ball basically to start the first and second half too, which Reed's a master with that.
Yeah, and it just, this was one of those games that everything went wrong for the Bucks and everything went right for the Chiefs, and it was only a 10-point game, which shows you how good Tommy B played.
It wasn't a 10-point game.
No, it was worse than it should have been. Worse than that.
They definitely gave up some touchdowns late that they wouldn't have if it would have been closer. 49ers 24, Rams 9 on Monday night. The Rams suck.
Hold on.
Can you
The
say
Rams
that again?
suck or the Rams suck? Which one?
Say that again.
Both. They, like the Commodes, are down to their 3rd string center and are only working with 2/5 of their starting offensive line.
So that's 40% of you that is counting on your hands at home.
Absolutely. Cooper Kupp, of course, was unstoppable.
Oh, Cooper Kupp is we go through when you rank wide receiver stuff like that. I'm just going to number 1 Cooper Kupp every time, because he's the only weapon they have, and he's still got 14 for 122.
Cooper Kupp is on pace for 179 receptions. That's 30 more than the record. 30.
The problem I see with the Rams there, though, is I was watching that game, and it was painful to watch, but Kupp's the only one who could win a matchup. Nobody else could win a matchup and get open at all.
Kupp is the only offensive weapon the Rams have at this point in time.
I mean, there was
don't
zero.
look like it's going to get any better. The only other weapon on that team that looks playable is Henderson.
No, Higbee.
They threw the ball to him, but Henderson as a running back actually looked like he had some explosiveness. And Akers, dude, where's your heart?
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to use Henderson when they're trailing, because he is quicker out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're going to pound the ball, that's going to be Akers. So if you're going to use Akers going forward, you have to rely on the Rams getting a lead.
Why don't they just put an the backup offensive guard in there and make him the guy who pounds the ball, because he looks faster than what Akers
He's
does.
already playing on the offensive line that's down to 40%.
The backup defensive tackle then, because he looks a lot more explosive. You just want somebody with some bulk going up there, because Akers looks about as explosive as a wet firecracker.
Yeah, it's not good. Debo went off, took a short Jimmy G, almost intercepted for a touchdown
57 yards.
6 for 115 and 1 is what he ended up.
How many people did he bounce off on that run? At least 3.
I think 5 is what I counted.
I was going to say, I thought it was 5.
It was bad.
It's amazing what he looks like in the open field.
Yeah, but at the same time, for any of you junior football league coaches out there, if you want to have a video on how not to tackle, go watch that play and highlight the Rams guys.
Wrap it, because there's one Jalen Ramsey went ole, and slid by him as he's trying to tackle him as he falls down.
And it was Debo. It wasn't King Henry running at you. I mean, Debo's packs a punch, but he's no King Henry.
It's not a career decision when you go to tackle Debo.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a momentary decision, but it's not a career decision.
Right.
Yeah, the key, I think, with Debo is that he's got such great moves in the open field, and he just slices you. I mean, when you go to tackle him, you're getting like a slice of him versus a King Henry who's coming at you like a Mack truck.
Yeah, he's got the full loaf. He's going to run over you.
Right. Anything else? Ayuk, Kittle, both huge disappointments. San Francisco D was the other big thing here. 7 sacks, a pick 6, and a fumble.
Now, here's the scary part. San Francisco's defense isn't healthy.
Yeah.
They get back they get back half their starting defensive secondary this week or next week.
Yeah.
So that might be the best defense in football.
And they're going to be great right up until they run into the Rams in the playoffs.
But if the Rams have to make it there first, then I don't think the Rams will at this point in time. Especially with Stafford's arm and how horrible he looked.
I was just referring to the Shanahan-McVay records.
That's right.
Yes. 7-0 versus 0-2.
The marquee matchup was Bills 23, Ravens 20. Steady rain and wind. J.K. Dobbins opened the scoring with a rushing TD and quickly after that had a receiving TD. But Lamar only had 144 passing yards. He had 73 on the ground. Mark Andrews disappeared in this game, 2 for 15.
I don't think he disappeared as much as Lamar disappeared. Because Lamar, let's face it, in those conditions, throwing the ball was like throwing a Frisbee. You have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah. I don't know.
The first half was entertaining to watch because it was just kind of a drizzle at that point in time. Second half looked like a full-on blown monsoon.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Josh Allen had 213 passing yards, 1 TD to Isaiah McKenzie, but he ran for 70.
He ran the ball like a man.
Oh yeah, well,
he's a man. He's 26.
Yes,
he is staking a claim early and often for the MVP at this point in time.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
26.
I mean,
exactly.
Meaning he's going to run for 40 is what he means.
Yeah. Or he's going to run you over and wish you think you were 40.
Yeah. So Diggs actually was 462. I think earlier I might have said 7 to 74. I think that was last week against the Dolphins. Baltimore went for it late, 4th and goal from the 2. Instead of kicking the field goal with Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker possibly in the history of the National Football League,
except for George Blanda,
he threw an interception, which instead of Buffalo having to start at the 2, they got out to the 20. So that was a huge change there. And unfortunately, Lamar missed both guys being open before he ended up throwing the interception.
Well, he's running for his life. I mean, you can only run so far backwards and still get a ball to go.
The initial read, Mike Davis wide open. All Lamar had to do is instead of dropping 7, drop 3.
Jump shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was already eyes on the rush at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the second monsoon game, we had Eagles 29, Jags 21. Jags jumped out 14 to zip. I mean, unless you watch this game, you don't know that the Jags were ready.
The Jags are 1, 2, at most 3 players away from being a contender in this league, folks.
They are a contender right now.
Well,
they lead the AFC South.
They're 2-1-1.
That's running away with the AFC South, though.
They have a half game lead.
They're 2-2.
2-0-1.
They don't have a tie.
Didn't they tie the? Nope.
That was the Colts. The Colts.
So they're
and the
2-2. They're tied with Tennessee at 2-2. But yeah, the Jags, folks, the Jags are going to be an entertaining team to watch in the next 2 years as they mature and grow up. If it happens this year, they could be a force in the playoffs, but I think they're probably 1-2 years away tops.
Something like that, yeah.
But the Eagles showed why they're the best team in football in this game.
The other thing here, so you had all the Eagles' touchdowns were rushing touchdowns. Hurts, Gainwell, and Sanders times 2. He had 27 rushes for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. It got to a point all they did was run the ball.
That's all they could do in that monsoon.
Because the Jags could not stop it.
No.
It didn't matter whether it was off tackle, guard, A-gap.
You know, remember you played in high school. If a play went for 8 yards, what'd the coach do?
Run it again. Or flip it and run it again.
If it got 8 yards again, run it again. Run until they stop you.
Yeah. Now, I expected A.J. Brown had his child this week on Thursday, I believe. So I totally expected him to get a touchdown this week, and he had one, but it was called back for illegal formation. So he ended up being 5 of 95 instead of 6 for 102 and a touchdown. Now, James Robinson crashed back to earth. That Christian Kirk did too. I mean, Spicoli had 7 turnovers, if I remember right. Do not jump on Jamal Agnew. He had the 2 receiving TDs from Spicoli, but he was only filling in for Zay Jones, who will be back.
He done. Pop-up receiver who popped up now is going to get buried in the depth chart again.
Do not pick him up.
Cowgirls, beat your commodes.
Hit it. Hit the sounder.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
I feel bad. I could have improved my record by 1 more game and been tied with Doc, but I fell into the pressure of taking the commodes.
Oh, hold on. Who pressured you? Did I pressure you? Tobin, did you pressure you?
Yes, absolutely. I was pressured into it.
How did we do that?
I remember asking him if he could actually utter those words, and then he was like, nope, I'm taking the commode.
Yeah,
I know.
I'll take
so
him.
you see, we gave him a chance, and he said no.
By the way, back to Agnew real quick there. I just pulled it up. Right now on ESPN, he's rostered in 0.5% of the leagues. We'll see what that is next week.
That's 0.5 too many.
Yeah, it is.
I'll bet it at least doubles.
How many leagues was he playing?
I'll bet he's at least 5% next week.
He was at 0% played.
Yep.
So those 2 touchdowns went for naught.
So CD killed you. 6 for 97 and a touchdown. He should have had more. I think he dropped a couple again.
This is the CeeDee Lamb that we expect to have and should have on a weekly basis, which is why I've been saying that he hasn't been until the last 2 games.
He gonna do it again against the Rams.
Well,
the Rams can't stop
Is he
nobody.
gonna be
Getting some help back at wideout, so he's not double and triple
Is he
teamed
going to
all
be your
the time.
bust out player of the game?
He will be my bust out. Yes.
Okay, I'll write that down at the break.
Gallup got a TD. It was awesome to see Michael Gallup back after tearing his ACL. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Gallup. I've had him before before his injury. I thought he was going to bust out. I think it was 2 years ago, and he never did. I was surprised Zeke didn't do anything.
I'm not.
He normally kills us. Now, one thing to go to Doc's Zeke hatred and
Not my Zeke hatred, my Zeke doneness.
he ranks like in the upper 30s in everything. I mean,
done.
he is done.
Here's the phone call he's going to get in mid-February. Well, Zeke, contract's kind of high this year, so we're going to have to let you go so we can move forward with somebody else because it's time to go in a different direction for this team.
I'm not going to be shocked if Antonio Gibson ends up in Dallas.
Okay. The London game.
The other thing that sucked for all of us Commodes fans is all of our social media was hyping the fact that the Dan was at this game.
Don't get used to it.
Oh my God. We got to get rid of this dude. London, Vikings 28, Saints 25, a double doink on what would have been the second 60-yard field goal by Will Lutz kept the Saints from sending this to overtime in London. Justin Jefferson got back on track, 10 for 147 and a rushing touchdown on a play that was so well designed. Not a single damn Saint tried to even go with him as he made a jet sweep. Cook, 20 for 74. Okay. Madison gets a receiving touchdown. Thielen, 8 for 72. Probably available in trades if you really want him. I mean, he could be okay going forward. Andy Dalton, better than Cousins. Olave has reached must-start wide receiver territory, 4 for 67 and 1 touchdown. And Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, scratch.
Yep. It was you kept waiting for the big play to take place from the Saints, and it just never really got there. Although the fact being they were in a position to kick the field goal at that point in time for the double doink, which shows you how badly the Vikings mismanaged the clock.
Did you see the side-by-side of the 2 frames of the first doink and the second doink?
No, I didn't.
There's a picture. There's one. It's an over-under, and it was somebody had a great shot from behind, looking back towards the lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the first doink, and you see the Saints guys celebrating because they think it's going to push through. And then you see the second doink, and they're all like holding their heads, cobra pose, and then and the Vikings guys are all hands up cheering. It was pretty classic.
You know what the best thing about this game was? We got to watch football from sun up to sundown.
Oh my God.
That was the best thing about this.
I was so
It's way better than breakfast at Wimbledon. We'll just go ahead and say
better
that.
than breakfast at Wimbledon.
Here we go. Congratulations to the Titans, 24, Colts 17. Matt Ryan had possibly the worst 356-yard, 2-touchdown game I've ever seen. He is single-handedly ruining Jonathan Taylor. I'm worried that Taylor has started to break down from his heavy use at Wisconsin and now his heavy use in the NFL. Derrick Henry straight up rolling, 22 for 114 and a touchdown, 3 receptions and another 33 yards. If he gets 3 to 5 receptions every week, he is going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, one comment about this game. If you own a quarterback that's playing against the Titans, start them. They have now allowed 3 straight 300-plus yard passers this year. They can't stop.
Get ready, Carson Wentz.
They can't stop anybody from playing catch at this point in time until Caleb Furley learns how to cover somebody.
If anybody can make them healthy, it's Carson Wentz.
Oh, yeah, we're going to make them look good.
The second thing about this game is Tennessee. Do you think possibly we can open the offense up a little bit in the second half rather than go and prevent win coming out at halftime?
That's not in Vrabel's DNA to open up the offense.
I mean,
Nope,
how many
happening.
points we've scored in the last 3 games in the second half?
3?
The same amount I have. None.
Ouch. Yeah, that's an ultra defensive head coach. If he's got the lead, he's playing uber conservative.
Yep. And uber conservative is going to get you 2-3 or 2 and not this week. We're going to be 3-2 this week, but it might get us 3-3 2 weeks from now when we play the Colts at home.
Well, they need to practice getting into some shootouts. Is what they need to do.
I don't disagree. That
With
would be
what's
nice.
laying ahead in the AFC as you get to the back end of the season, I mean, you're not going to win 17-14 in Buffalo or Kansas City.
We don't have to worry about going to Buffalo again until playoffs.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. We're
That's
talking
what
about
you're
playoffs.
I know, but I was trying to avoid that and assume that we're going to be there because right now I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Packers 27, Patriots 24 in overtime at Lambeau.
Free football, everybody.
Aaron Rodgers struggled early but finished 251-2 with a pick 6, a total rarity for Rodgers. I think it's only his 3rd ever.
yeah, he's thrown. I was driving home. I was out running errands again because
You run a lot of errands.
I do, unfortunately, especially now that we have a full house again because my son and his wife and family moved back in, so I was out doing some stuff.
Tommy, we should start texting him to just pick up our stuff when we need it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going home. I'm driving home, and the guy on the radio is going after Aaron Rodgers threw the pick 6. He's going, you realize I've been in attendance as the commentator on 3 of his 3 pick 6s. I'm going. So you're the jerk that
you're the
crosses
guy.
it. And oh, by the way, guess who's doing the game in London this week? Same
guy.
commentator.
Interesting.
So you're saying we should look at that prop bet?
I'm saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance.
They play the Giants. There's no
Okay,
chance.
a couple of questions here I have is, how bad are the Packers if they can't blow out a team that's starting their 3rd string quarterback?
So there were 2 touchdowns that were basically dropped. One of them was Dobbs. He dropped his 2nd touchdown.
That was the challenge, TD, right?
Yeah.
He had it in his hands, but since he was being tackled to the ground when he caught it, he had to maintain control through the ground. It's one of those rules that I just hate. If you're in the end zone like that and you've got 2 feet down.
But he didn't ever have control of the ball.
Oh, no, he did. He had control until he hit the ground.
Yeah, but
Do we need to ring up Dez on the horn
might
here,
ring
see if
Dez
he
up
wants
on
to
this
come
one.
in on this one?
Dez and Calvin Johnson.
Uh-huh.
but I'm looking at this game and I'm going, Packers are good, but I don't think they're as good as we thought they were. Now, their defense is as good as we thought it was, I think. Their offense, not so much at this point in time.
Their
Especially
defense
since-
is on the field too much right now.
And if you have Aaron Rodgers, you start a quarterback in fantasy football, might be looking for somebody to replace him with because that offense is going to be run based until those wide receivers come along.
Yeah, in another league, I made a trade to acquire Trevor Lawrence. I gave up Rashad Penny because before Javonte Williams got injured, I had a surplus.
Somebody gave you
running
Trevor
backs.
Lawrence for Rashad Penny.
Yes.
God, I want to make a trade with that person.
Yeah. No, that's actually, it's a pretty fair trade, especially for what I needed. I needed another serviceable quarterback because I had Jameis and Jimmy G as my other options. And of course, like I said, I had a surplus at running back until Javonte Williams lost his knee. In this game, there's not a lot of highlights for the Packers. It's Alan Lazard and Romeo Dobbs. Nobody else right now, I think, is very playable.
I don't disagree. Aaron Jones is the highlight of the team at this point in time with the rushing attack that they have.
Yeah, and he's going to be great up until it gets cold, and then A.J. Dillon's going to take over. For the Patriots, Devontae Parker got the receiving TD, I think, on his only catch, and Damian Harris got a rushing TD. I'm not sure he had 8 carries. So,
but let's be real. The Packers' offense is horrible. Would be an upgrade.
I don't think I can go there.
Really, their offensive line is solid, but their defense, but their backs and their wide receivers aren't. Their quarterback, granted, they're on their third string quarterback now with Hoyer out and Jones out.
Are you talking about the Packers or the Patriots?
Patriots.
He was talking about both there.
Yeah. The Patriots, yes, the Patriots, you can't play anybody off the Patriots.
No.
If you have Damian Harris or you have Ramondre Stevenson, you have to play them this week because they play the Lions, and the Lions give up rushing yards like there's no tomorrow.
And the only other thing you can the Patriots defense is probably playable depending upon the matchup they have. I don't think they're playable this week because I think the Lions are just going to light them up.
So I just pulled it up. Harris had 18 carries for 88 yards, 4.8
really?
yards, and a TD.
Wow.
Long run was
way
14.
better than what I thought.
And Stevenson had 14 for 66. So, I mean, that's serviceable.
Okay.
That's 32 carries for 150 yards.
That's a ton.
That's 5 yards a carry.
I apologize.
Roughly.
Yeah, they're definitely both playable with that kind of usage.
But they've got to get the quarterback.
But they're going to have to run the ball. I mean,
They've
got
got
Frank Zappa's kid playing QB1 right now. I mean,
No, it's Moon as Zappa's kid.
sorry, whichever.
Get it straight. Come on.
Zipper, Zappa, whatever.
But until they get somebody explosive as a wide receiver, they're going to have problems offensively, especially since they don't have a tight end they can trust. They spent all that money 2 years ago on tight ends. Remember how much we talked about how exotic that offense can be?
Oh,
There ain't nothing coming out of the offense other than vanilla.
It's terrible. Jonnu Smith is injured. He has an ankle. He's a day-to-day. That doesn't matter. Hunter Henry without Mac Jones throwing to him is worthless. I can't start.
I mean, 2
any
years ago,
Patriots
we lamented
outside
about how they can come out with all these different offensive formations, do all this really cool stuff, but we haven't seen any of it. So let's move on to the Raiders versus the Broncos.
Raiders 32, Broncos 23. Biggest news, of course, was Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton, 4 for 53, 5 for 52. Both had touchdowns. I still prefer Sutton.
I still prefer Judy.
Not loving Russ at all. Josh Jacobs had his career game, 28 for 144 and 2 and 5 for 31. Devontae had his first TD less game, but was still 9 for 101.
19 points, not bad at all.
Yeah, that's a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Carr underwhelmed with 188 passing yards, but had 40 rushing yards. Daniel Carlson's the number one field goal guy.
Yeah. Carr. I have Carr in one of my leagues, and I'm looking to be able to upgrade him because, quite frankly, I've lost one game in that league because Carr didn't score. Carr scored me 9.58 points. His average in that league is less than 15, which is not what you want for your starting quarterback. At this point in time, Carr's unplayable in fantasy football leagues.
Except for this week.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. This week, I cannot wait. He plays well in Kansas City. This game Monday night's going to be a smash. While we're talking about the AFC West, let's get the Chargers 34, Texans 24. Austin Eckler went off, 13 for 60 and 2 on the ground, 6 for 49 and 1 in the air. Herbert 340 and 2. Big Mike 7 for 120. Gerald Everett gets the other TD and is fast becoming a very nice tight end option. I think he's number 6.
If he's available, which he was still available in 16% of the leagues out there according to ESPN today, grab him quickly, put him in your lineup because he's a great.
Unless you've got Mandrews, Kelsey.
Unless you've got one of the top 3, and I ain't putting Pitts there right now.
No, he's definitely not there.
He's a great blocking tight end these days.
He is currently also out of practice with, I believe, a hamstring injury.
I think it's a bruised ego.
Could be that too. Dameon Pierce did do his best James Robinson impersonation.
He had one great run.
Getting all the rushing attempts. Well, okay, so let's take one run out of there. He had 13 for 56. That's still over 4 yards a carry. 14 for 131 and a touchdown. 6 for 8 on receptions.
Wow, that's a lot of work for 8 yards.
1.33 yards.
Points on reception.
That means he's catching them. How far behind the line of scrimmage is he catching the ball on average?
That might, if you would have had 6 for 8 with 2, that might rival Drum Buttis' thing of 4 carries, 3 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's like a Chase Edmonds line right there.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks, Rex Burkhead got the Texans receiving TDs. the key stat for this, Pierce got all the rushing work.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting close to being
he's an RB2 at this point in time.
He's definitely an RB2. He's getting close to RB1 territory. He puts it on the Jags this week. He's a must start.
And we'll see how long he holds up with that workload.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't get a lot in college, so maybe he's ready. I mean, he's still a big guy. So
it's a lot of pounding to take every carry.
That's true. Falcons 23, Browns 20. I don't know what's going on with the Browns.
Oh, I got this one.
Okay.
What's wrong with the Browns? Nick Chubb touched the ball 21 times. Nick Chubb has to touch the ball 25 to 30 times for you to be successful. You hand the ball, put it in his hands 25 to 30 times, you will win football games almost every time. That's what the problem is. Next question.
Well, I agree. I mean, he was 19 for 118 and a touchdown, 2 for 9. Amari Cooper disappeared, 1 reception for 9 yards.
Amari Cooper pulled an Amari Cooper.
Well, yeah.
I think it was a lot of Brissett, though.
Brissett is horrible to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
7 weeks. They're going 7 weeks. We're getting back. Yep. 7 weeks. Can we go 7 weeks?
Well, the other key
will we still be in contention in 7 weeks? Can we go 4-3?
Remember that Myles Garrett was out in this one. Myles Garrett would have lit up Marcus Mariota.
Myles Garrett doesn't help the offense put up more than 20 points against a very not a very average Falcons defense.
Yeah, but he might be worth 10 points to the defense. So
that's right. He sets the edge, and they are not running to his side.
If the offense puts up 3 more points to go to overtime and probably win.
Yeah. Cordero Patterson, 9 for 38 and a touchdown. He's on IR. Tyler Algier came in, was 10 for 84. Look for him to be the starter right now. They're going to go ahead and play Caleb Huntley too. Caleb Huntley on one drive had 8 and 50, I believe, of these yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball 10 times. They did not pass the ball on a touchdown drive.
Didn't have to.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London combined 3 for 42.
Yeah, you're going to win a lot of games that way.
How many targets did they have collectively there?
But the Falcons won. That's the most important thing. But Browns, I beat this drum last year. I beat this drum the year before that. Turn around and get the ball to Chubb. You will win games. Period. Put the ball in that man's hands and see what happens. 25 to 30 times a game.
Yeah, they can't do that and have him stay healthy.
They can. They can take those screens to him out and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They targeted Pitts 4 times, London 7 out of those 3 completions.
Rough.
Put the ball in Chubb's hands, see what happens, Browns.
Seahawks 48, Lions 45. What?
Defense? Anybody seen a defense?
The most entertaining game to watch this weekend was this one. I switched over to this one from the Tennessee game at halftime because I knew this was going to be more entertaining than the Tennessee game, and it was.
Yeah, Geno Smith, 320 and 2 through the air, 749 and 1 on the ground. Rashad Penny, 17 for 151 and 2, has picked up a shoulder injury, which kept him out of practice today. DK, 7 for 149.
Hold on. Stop there. Okay, go ahead and get DK. You got a touchdown? Go ahead.
He didn't have a touchdown, but he did take a cart ride.
Okay, now, here's a question that I have for Tobin. You posted this nice little meme this last week. Have you updated the stats on that meme that you posted? And tell us about that meme that you posted.
Which one was it?
The Russ Wilson versus Geno Smith stats.
Oh, it's a slam dunk on Geno's side.
Yeah. Yeah, Geno went off this week.
Yeah, at that point in time, Geno had 4 less yards and 3 more touchdown passes.
Yeah.
For $41 million less dollars.
Yeah. It's almost the disparity that's Cooper Rush and Dak in Dallas too. About the same.
And so by looking at this, I'm willing to bet the Seahawks are very, very happy that Russ is no longer with them.
Oh.
And the Broncos are going, damn, we could have got Geno for a 5th.
A lot of buyer's remorse.
Have Drew Lock. What they're getting out of Russ.
Exactly.
Walton Pinner family. No.
So go on, Tom. I wanted to throw that in there. Give Tobin some props for the meme he posted.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Yeah.
Sure. So on the Lions side, Goff was 378 and 4. He ran for a 2-point conversion. Threw another one to TJ Hawkinson, who was 8 for 179 with 2 touchdowns. His career game. He'll never have a better game than that. Hell, there may not be another tight end that has a game like that. Josh Reynolds, 7 for 81 and 1. I'm telling you, Josh Reynolds is a sneaky stash with the health issues around DJ Chark, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, but they get Jamison Williams back this week or next week.
Oh. Where have you read that?
Jamison Williams was listed as I've been following Jamison Williams because I want him in the lineup because I need him in one of my fantasy teams. The quote that was out there was he's practicing full speed and looks like he's game ready. It's just a matter of when the GM decides to put him in.
I was going to say, I haven't even heard of him being activated off the pup yet.
He hasn't, but he's been practicing and everything with them.
Okay.
It's just a matter of 1 to 2 weeks before he will be back based upon healthiness and that type of stuff for the team.
Okay. So Jamal Williams got the ball with Swift out. He ran it 19 for 108 and 2 touchdowns. Leads the NFL in rushing scores.
Yep.
Jamal Williams.
Yep.
So the latest on Jamison Williams is Dan Campbell says they won't designate him to return from the reserve non-football injury list until after their week 6 bye.
Okay. Was that posted today or was that posted?
That's today.
Okay.
30 today.
Moving on to Cardinals 26, Panthers 16, way closer than it looked until Kyler went off in the second half, ending with 207 and 2 and 12 for 26 and 1 on the ground.
Did somebody forget to tell Matt Rule and the Panthers that there's 2 halves in a game?
No, he just forgot to tell him to cover Kyler in the second half.
Oh, gotcha.
Marquise downtown Phoenix Brown, 6 for 88 and 1. Zach, my balls Ertz, 6 for 47 and 1. CMC totally disappointed on the ground where he only had 8 rushes for 27 yards, but made up for it through the air, 9 for 81 and 1.
Yeah, those were basically extended handoffs. I mean, it's just a way to get him outside.
17 touches for 108 yards and a touchdown. I'll take that from an RB.
Amazing. DJ Moore, 1 rush for 11 yards, 6 receptions for 50 to show some semblance of fantasy relevance.
Not much.
But man, has he been a disappointment. And then with Rondale Moore back, Greg Dortch is now disappeared as a thing.
Greg.
Which is a shame because he looked good.
He was, to me, he was much better than what Rondale Moore was, but who knows? Giants 20, Bears 12. Neither Saquon or Khalil Herbert could get in the end zone, but at least Saquon went 31 for 146 and 2 for 16 to take over the number 1 running back spot from Nick Chubb.
And QB1 for the Giants, I remember what it looked like.
Yeah, QB1 for a little while. That's right. They ran plays out of the Wildcat, snapping it to Saquon.
Did you see Daboll drawing it up on the grease board, literally showing him, okay, here's what you're looking for on this play?
I didn't.
Oh, you got to go back and watch the film.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. Herbert was 19 for 77, 1 for 14. A huge letdown for all of the owners who picked him up or started him in place of Montgomery this week. Darnell Mooney finally showed up with 4 for 94. And the only other performance was Danny Dimes rushing for 2 TDs, stealing them from Saquon, which totally pissed me off.
And me.
As somebody that has Saquon, huh?
Yeah. And Justin Fields, he's just not good.
I'll bet whoever Danny Dimes was playing in their fantasy football league had Saquon this week.
More than likely. I keep going back to Justin Fields and going, man, he ain't good. And who could he be? He couldn't beat out. Oh, yeah, Jake from State Farm in Georgia, which is why he transferred to Ohio State. Sorry, Chicago, you've got a busted quarterback. Time to go shopping.
Yeah. Man, I feel bad. I mean, he has like flashes of brilliance, and then the other 80% of the time, it's just garbage.
Oh, 80%?
He needs to almost become Cordell Stewart, part 2.0, and start spending some time. I mean, he's athletic as heck.
What he needs to
Get
become
him out on the wide out, get him back in there, mix him into something
He needs
there.
to become Taysom Hill.
Half of Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, put him at quarterback and wide receiver, not quarterback and tight end.
Yep.
Jets 24, Steelers 20. Mitch was terrible
And benched.
in the first half, gave way
ya.
to Pickett in the second half,
It was terrible.
and ongoing.
Mitch was terrible as well.
Pickett became
Kenny
the
was
first
terrible.
QB to rush for 2 TDs in his debut, but he also threw 3 interceptions, 2 of which were
Wow. Looked like a punt, the first one.
the one that bounced off of Claypool's hands was kind of like, really, dude?
That happens.
Come on. I mean, it was in your hands. You jumped up there, and it's like he just poofed it right up there. It's like, oh, 2 guys are there. We're going to take it. Now, Pickens was 6 for 102, Freiermuth 7 for 85. Let me tell you what, get ready. This is what's going to happen going forward. I think Deontay Johnson's going to mix in there from time to time, but I'm expecting Pickens and Freiermuth to be the targets from Pickett.
Yeah, the young generation's coming to take over.
Now, next year, those are the players you want. This year, with Pickens' ability to throw interceptions and that the offensive line not being good, I'm not sure I would start them every week.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't think they're startable right now. You've got to have better options than Pickens and Freiermuth. Well, not Freiermuth, because you probably took him as your late tight end where you punted tight end until the end. But, Najee Harris, he's approaching that Nick Chubb territory for me, meaning that Steelers, you better use this dude.
The problem with Steelers, they're not using him. He touches the ball, but he gets 2 yards of carry, or he catches the ball on the swing route where he's got 3 guys in front of him.
Oh, yeah.
Najee Harris is getting the tar beat out of him.
It's very predictable right now. That offense has no creativity.
Is as vanilla as vanilla
and it's going to get more vanilla with a rookie behind center.
Yeah, which means Najee Harris is going to be.
I mean, Pickett may get a Troy Aikman year here.
Yeah, Najee Harris is going to get killed, and this is going to take games off of his end of his career for what's going to happen with him this year.
If they had Detroit's offensive line,
I'd have Najee Harris starting every game.
They're a top 3 team. I don't care who's at quarterback.
But the offensive line is so bad that they're a bottom 3 team. Almost.
For the Jets, Breece Hall is definitely better than Michael Carter, as Doc has been saying since day one. He went 17 for 66 and 1 and 2 for 12 with the game-winning TD. However, he is a top 20 back, not a top 10 yet.
But I told you in 2 weeks he'd be a top 10 back last week, didn't I?
Yeah, he's not going to be.
I still want to take that bet.
He is not going to be a top 10
I haven't seen
back
it on DraftKings yet, but I'm looking.
Yeah. Corey Davis, 5 for 74 and a touchdown with Wilson back. I think Corey Davis is the wide receiver to own. Garrett Wilson is taking a step down the pecking order because Wilson is going to look for Corey Davis.
Corey Davis is healthy. Corey Davis is 6'3", 240 pounds, and knows how to use his body to get the ball. Corey Davis, this is the Corey Davis that I expected Tennessee to have 2 years ago and to keep last year. Yep, you're right. Corey Davis is the guy that I love, and Corey Davis I wish was still a wide receiver for Tennessee because we need him badly.
You do. The Tennessee Titans need him desperately right now.
Being in New York, Corey Davis is the wide receiver you want from the Jets. He's probably the only wide receiver you want in the whole damn city.
Yes, that is 100% accurate. Tobin went 13 and 3 on the weekly picks this week.
Should have been 14 and 2, but had one stole from me.
Yep. Overall, he's 30 and 18. Doc went 10 and 6 this week,
which I thought was great until I looked at Tobin's record. I'm going, wow, I hope you bet all those games.
You went 10 and 6 and we're last place in our picks.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, I hope you bet all those games.
I did all right.
Good.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
I understand.
Overall, Doc's 26 and 22. I went 11 and 5 and I'm 25 and 23. Let's get a break real quick here, and then we'll come back with our waiver ads and start sits.
After you've listened to Warsquared and have your lineups locked in for the week, we invite you to go over and check out 3 Dogs and a Dude. It's a podcast inspired by 3 crazy rescue dogs and their dude who like having conversations with interesting people. You never know who might pop into the studio as a guest, and we guarantee some laughs. Check out 3 Dogs and a Dude wherever you get your podcasts. After you've listened to Warsquared and have your lineup, Indian Media Productions is your one-stop shop for all of your media creation needs. Whether it's producing a podcast like the one you're listening to, or maybe you just need some video for your social media and websites, sales and promotional videos, or even TV commercials, we've got you covered. Check us out at IndianMediaPro.com.
Hold on. Before we get into this, I want to cover one thing. How many people watched the game Monday night?
There was a game Monday night?
Well, there was a football game. Whether you watch, there was people playing football. You guys saw the guy run the field with the pink flare?
Yep.
Okay, he has filed a police report against Bobby Wagner for the hit that he sustained that night.
Yep.
For parking a semi truck at the 45-yard line.
Exactly. And so there's debate according to, I just got done reading a little bit of an article during the break. Because I've been following this all day, but he's filed a police report, and the police report they're supposedly have subpoenaed game film with which to look at the hit and see if it was an illegal hit or not.
I don't think he got called for targeting.
I don't think he did.
I didn't see any flags on the
I
play.
was kind of disappointed with no targeting on that one.
Congratulations that you're having a girl.
Or you are a girl. I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would probably file that suit too, because I don't know if you noticed the rest of the game, there was 2 divots over there on the field where that dude got planted. And I was like, and I flipped over, I was like, where are those divots from? And I was like, oh.
But now we can go back. I just wanted to read that and throw that in before I forgot about it. That way we can see exactly how ludicrous our society's gotten with this stupidity.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. Waiver ads. My number one waiver ad was Mike Boone. I think he immediately goes into the Melvin Gordon role. So, could mean that he's going to get 150 carries from here on out, 700-800 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Not with Latavius Murray there.
Melvin
He
Gordon
might get those carries for a week.
Melvin Gordon messes up, it'll be Mike Boone and Latavius Murray. My number 2 is Tyler Algier. I expected this guy to come in and win the job outright because I expected Cordero Patterson to be a part-time running back, part-time receiver, just like he has been in his career. Now that Cordero's out, I think Algier is going to take off.
I agree.
Love Latavius Murray in Denver. I'm not going to be shocked if Thursday night Latavius Murray busts one out. Remember, Latavius Murray's breakout game was with the Raiders against the Chiefs when he had 200 plus yards and I think 2 touchdowns before halftime. Number 4, Caleb Huntley. He's the practice squad free agent guy that came in and had the 10 rushes for 54 yards and a touchdown for Atlanta. He's going to split with Algier. One of those 2 is going to blow up. I like Nico Collins for the Texans.
If he's available in your league, let us know because we'd like to get in that one because we've been talking about Nico Collins since the beginning of the season and how he should be on your roster and should be available to you.
He's a giant dude. I mean, he's like 6'3", 225. He is a big cat. So I like his upside. Devontae Parker's probably available out there in your league. I don't know what other wide receiver you would want, but at least he and Zappy have some sort of connection.
Corey Davis is available in more leagues.
If Corey Davis is available, I'd pick up Davis over Parker. In a bunch of the leagues, I haven't seen Davis available.
I picked him up in 2 leagues today.
Good for you. Kenny Pickett.
Which is surprising he wasn't already on my team, right?
Right. Absolutely. That's surprising. Kenny Pickett, I think he's a solid option going forward. They're going to have to throw the ball all the time.
Only in dynasty leagues.
He's a bench player for you. There are definitely worse quarterbacks you could pick up.
Yeah, he's a great bye week stash.
Russ Wilson.
I'd
is a worse quarterback.
much rather have Kenny Pickett over Russ Wilson right now. Josh Reynolds, again, I talked about it earlier. He's got a relationship with Goff already. You want a piece of Detroit's offense. Alec Pierce is available in like 90% or more of leagues. He's a PPR type player. In a standard league, don't pick up Pierce. In a PPR only, Alec Pierce. And then I put Isaiah McKenzie / Khalil Shakur. One of these guys is going to be the number 3 in
Khalil
Buffalo.
Shakur.
One of them. I don't know which one. Right now, McKenzie, of course, leads because he has more touchdowns, but it could be Shakur because McKenzie is in the protocol.
He's for Gile.
I can give you 2 quarterbacks that I would rather have over Kenny Pickett. Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And Zach Wilson.
Oh, I wouldn't rather have Zach Wilson. I have no faith in Wilson. I have no faith he can stay healthy. I don't have a lot of faith in Geno, but I did pick up Geno in our BNI league, dropping Jameis.
Okay, other ones, Corey Davis and Jamison Williams. I've already talked about Corey Davis and Jamison Williams. Jamison Williams not going to be back for 2 to 3 weeks now. But grab him, stash him. He's going to be one of those wide receivers that comes in and makes the plays to either get you in the playoffs or win a playoff game for you. Because he's going to be that explosive in that offense as the season goes on. And Raheem Mostert was available in 38% of the leagues according to the ESPN stat today. 62.4% of the leagues have him on a roster.
It's an RB1. Wow.
15% were starting him. Time to go pick him up and put him on your roster. Time to get him started.
Yep. Let's talk about our top fives. We'll start at QB. I'll start with Josh Allen, then Lamar Jackson. I got to go with Patrick Mahomes, then Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts.
I have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Spicoli, Trevor Lawrence. They're playing the Texans, let's be real.
They are. I just think that they'll run the ball more. Joe Burrow is next on my list.
Joe Burrow's starting to heat up and starting to get there. Joe Burrow is going to become, for those of us who are Joe Burrow fans and have been starting him, been a little bit of a disappointment so far this year, but he's starting to get everything going. Why they don't play in preseason, I don't understand, but they're finally getting everything put together. The offenses are starting to gel, and this is the Joe Burrow time to star.
I'm kind of surprised to not see Carson Wentz in there. They played the Titans this week, and their secondary is terrible.
I don't disagree, but it's Carson Wentz until proven otherwise.
He's got some weapons. It'll be interesting this week.
One thing Tennessee does do is get at the quarterback. And Carson Wentz, when he's being chased around, tends to throw it up like a,
oh yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. At running back, I'm going Nick Chubb, then Derrick Henry, then James Robinson, then Damian Pierce, and then Leonard Fournette.
If I have Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Mixon, and Leonard Fournette. And I'm not sure about Leonard Fournette. He's one of those ones that you look at and you think maybe, maybe not. I would put Breece Hall in there if I don't put him in there.
That's a stretch.
Okay.
Wow.
Breece Hall's going to get more touches. The more touches he gets, the more numbers he puts up. And as his numbers grow, his number of touches grow, his fantasy points are going to continue to go up, and he's going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback, a running back in 2 weeks.
So whose offensive line is better, the Jets or the Bengals?
Definitely, that's a good question. I don't know.
Wait. I've got a sounder for this. Oh, got to turn it up.
Not one of them real good. At least the Jets have an excuse because they're on their number 4 left tackle, where all the Bengals did was spend a lot of money on an offensive line that apparently can't block.
Okay, so we have the Bengals with their line and Joe Mixon, who averaged 4.1 yards a carry last year and had, I believe, 38 yards rushing against the Dolphins.
But what does Mixon do really well? Catches the ball in the backfield.
I was going to say limp to the sideline.
Well, I was going to say he didn't do either well.
Yep.
And I mean, I think Breece Hall is a very comparable player to Joe Mixon, not quite as tall.
Okay. You asked me to rank these. I did.
I'm just saying
Are you channeling me from last year with Mixon?
No, what I'm saying is that Mixon and the Bengals did not do well against the Dolphins. The Jets play the Dolphins this week.
Yeah.
I think that Breece Hall and Joe Mixon are very comparable players. And to say that you had Breece Hall even in the top 6, to me, is bad fantasy advice.
That's perfectly okay. I'm telling you, I think Breece Hall is going to have a very good game, score 15 plus points at running back.
Here's what I have to say to both of you.
Tommy's always wrong.
Are you high?
Yeah. You're both wrong. Let's move along.
He did last week. He scored over 15 fantasy points last week.
That's true. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. I just couldn't not put both of them in there.
Weren't you the one lecturing me in the offseason? You don't want 2 wide receivers from the same team because they can't sustain points? And there's no way that they can have two top 10 wide receivers from the same team.
Yes. I still
have
don't
you
believe
changed your mind?
No, I don't think that they'll both finish in the top 10.
But they are right now.
Are they both in the top 10?
I know. I believe Higgins is. I think Chase is just right outside at number 12.
I was pretty sure Chase wasn't. But
I have Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I don't disagree with you a lot because I think that quite frankly, the Bengals offense is going to be throwing the ball all over the field and back.
They're not going to play in a monsoon again.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens cannot stop talented wide receivers right now.
Correct.
The only way they can stop them is with their pass rush. They got to make him get it out quick, and that's their only chance.
And Burrow gets the ball out quick. That's why Burrow's.
Well, he's going to have to because his O-line sucks.
Yeah. As much money as they spent, they apparently have a bad investment advisor.
Well, this one's going to be interesting because that Baltimore front seven, the way they mix around where that rush is coming from, is going to spin some Bengals O-line heads around, I think.
It'll be interesting because Baltimore did the same thing against the Dolphins and the Bills. They jumped out to a halftime lead and gave it away.
And faded.
Yep. At tight end, I'm put Kelsey back in front of the Mandrews until Kelsey disappears. I left George Kittle in here only because they play the Panthers, and I don't think, and if Zach Ertz can light up the Panthers, George Kittle should kill him. Dallas Goedert, because he is the security blanket for Jalen Hurts, and then Hayden Hurst. Again, I don't think they can stop Cincinnati. I mean, this should be like a 350, 3 or 4 touchdown game for Burrow.
I agree with you 100%. I have Kelsey, Andrews, Kittle, Ertz, and Higbee.
Yeah, as long as Cincy doesn't get too enamored with the long ball and takes those quick routes, I think it's going to be.
If Burrow
The
gets the
long
ball
ball
out,
is going to be there. The long ball will be there.
If he's got time to throw it,
if Burrow
that's the
gets the
problem.
ball out in 2.5 seconds for the first half, the long ball will be available all second half because they'll have to bring everybody up and then they can throw by him, run by him.
On my sleepers, I've got A.J. Dillon, Chris Olave. I put Denver running back in here because I didn't know Melvin Gordon's condition before I put all this together. Right now, I'm going to say Melvin Gordon. I like Adam Thielen against the Bears. And then I love Gerald Everett for the Chargers at tight end.
Gerald Everett is there. I would put in this. I would put mine went absolutely blank. Wide receiver Amari Cooper, believe it or not, it would be one of the sleepers I would put in here off his performance last week, which put everybody to sleep. Other sleepers, I think Zach Wilson's going to have a good game against the Dolphins. I think even though he's listed as questionable at this point in time because he had knee swelling, but I think he's going to have a good game. I think the Jets are, at this point in time, right on the cusp of becoming an average to a little bit above average football team. I'm not just saying that because, Mark Shook's a fan, but I'm just saying that because I think the Jets are finally putting stuff together. Okay.
They get one win and they're world beaters now.
That's right.
They've got more than one win.
Against an also ran Pittsburgh team that is definitely in rebuild mode and getting ready to lose like 4 in a row.
They don't rebuild in Pittsburgh. They just reload.
Well, not this year.
We'll start some league recaps. We'll start with the Warsquared Dynasty League. Billy won, but all of us lost. Seth was down 39 points going in the Monday night game and beat me by 24. Doc lost to the Trogs, who were buoyed by Travis Kelce and T. Higgins. And Tobin lost to Nick, who got 39.9 points out of TJ Hawkinson.
That's the story of my life in this league.
Woof.
Welcome to my world last year. So we haven't had the injuries this year.
Good thing I like pancakes because I'm squarely in contention right now.
Unfortunately, yes. Okay, this league is the other dynasty league that I'm in. I am now 3-1. I have the most points scored in the league, but I've given up 40 more points than I've scored because the one game that I got beat that badly.
Yeah.
Which happens.
It's a crazy thing. The BNI League, Doc beat up Allie, Tobin beat up Matt, and I was filled by the projection king Ross, thanks to JT crapping the bed again.
Okay. Remember on draft day when we have one of the other people draft like going, God, how can he draft? How can he do this? How can he do that? But all he does is put winners together, isn't he? The projection king.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Keeps doing it though. There's got to be some kind of a formula or algorithm that he's using with which to do this.
Yeah, I think that's giving him way too much credit.
I don't think he can spell algorithm, let alone have one. So
Joe Ernest still undefeated thanks to Cooper Kupp. That was a great decision on his part to take him second overall. And then Brandon finally got a win against Zane.
In Washington?
in Washington. Those people up there in Washington and Oregon, man, they just.
I mean, wow. I think Ross's formula is has a very good propensity to catch people when their guys crap the bed.
Right.
I mean, you look at his wins right now, and he's not piling up points. He's catching guys scoring 80, 90, or 105.
But he keeps getting the W.
Yeah. It's
Don't know what it is, but
being in the right place at the right time has something to do with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Shook has now tied me in the Tupac division at the top. So,
and I'm one game behind Joe Ernest in that one.
Yeah,
in
Joe's
league.
getting ready to thump me this week, so that'll be awesome.
I hope so.
In the Scott Fish Bowl, lost by 21. I played against TK. Carr and Wentz and Waller are killing me in this league. They, I think, combined for 16 points.
Ouch.
Oh my God. Carson Wentz had 0.8.
Have you got
points.
your invitation to draft in the league again next year?
Not yet.
I'm surprised they haven't already sent it to you.
For a donation.
It's not the same division or anything like that.
I'm surprised. We're gonna pencil you in for next year, Tom. Is that okay?
Yeah,
And we want to be in your league. Is that okay?
absolutely. Because I've learned a lot already.
Yeah, I've learned a lot this year too. Not to let you draft a team for us again.
The thing is to be at the end and take a quarterback and take a tight end.
I think the thing is to be number 4. Because isn't that after the second round? Don't you switch for you flip the draft order at that point in time, or do you move to no?
Yeah.
Okay,
But see, if you start at the end, you'll get at least one quarterback who will be like a top 10 quarterback.
You should get a top 5 probably by then.
Then
no. In this league, they have the super flex, and so you can start 2 quarterbacks.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't pay when one of your quarterbacks scores 0.8 points. You're really penalized.
He actually
for-
You don't think so?
He actually took
It doesn't pay off?
He took Carson Wentz on purpose.
No, in desperation.
There's your Scott Fish Bowl season.
Yeah,
We need to get a plumbing sponsor on this show.
We definitely do.
absolutely. And with JT being in the tank for the past 3 weeks, I mean, when that does not help. In agents, again, holla at your boy. I'm still the only undefeated team in the
But
league.
who have you played?
Ross.
I've played Toby.
Everybody beats Toby
Freddie.
this year. They're both 1 and 3.
I don't remember who the other one was other than, I beat Marty this week.
Okay, Marty, that was his. He's now what, 1 and 3,
2
2?
and 2.
2 and 2.
He's 2 and 2 now.
So
He
they're
was
5
2
and 8
and
at
1.
this point in time.
All
4 and 8.
3 of those guys are in my division.
You can only play the schedule they put in front of you, man.
I know, but
But my reign is coming to an end. Who do you think I play this week, Doc?
Satan.
Satan.
I saw the text message already.
Oh, God. I am
Been
already.
nice knowing you.
Yep. I'm a 51-49 dog right
So
now.
what you really need to do is take back the commissionership and schedule him for a bye week. You can just flush that whole week away and call it good and draft everybody that week, correct?
Kind of, yeah. That's exactly what I need to do. Doc lost to Brad by leaving Goff on his bench, and with Brad sitting Herbert for Cousins. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
But what really killed me was CEH's career game put him over the top and beat me.
That really did. That hurt.
I mean, 28.8 points or 38.8 points he got from
From
CEH.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I'm sitting there going, can you throw the ball to anybody else but Kelsey and him? I mean, come on, anybody else. Juju's open.
Juju was open. Juju made an appearance this week, though.
Nick beat Freddie and Wardo beat Toby to make those two losers, Freddie and Toby, 1 and 3 in my division. That's awesome. As usual, though, I'm in the SEC. Doc's in the FBS.
Oh, please.
You are. There's nobody with a winning record in your division.
Hold on. Okay, how bad did you beat Freddie?
I don't know. Enough.
Okay. You're in the SEC. Unfortunately, you're in the SEC East or West, which means you suck.
I'm still in the SEC.
Yeah, whatever.
All right.
Can you spell SEC?
I think I just did. SEC.
I'm surprised.
I think that'll do it for us this week. We'll come back in a little bit for everybody out there with a little bit of bonus segment previewing the other games. Till next week. Peace out.